Imagine an AI that doesn't just, answer your questions, but actually proactively does things for you. Think about this for a second. You wake up, you speak a single command, maybe just a sentence or two, and boom, an AI plans your entire week's travel. I mean, it searches for flights, hotels, everything, based on what it knows you like, your budget.
Right, pulling from past preferences.
It's exactly. And then it books the tickets, confirms the reservations, even puts reminders in your calendar.
And it remembers the small stuff, too.
Yeah.
Like you prefer a window seat, maybe vegetarian meals, hotels with a gym.
Yeah. Not just from yesterday, but maybe from a trip you took like 6 months ago. That really doesn't feel like science fiction anymore, does it?
Yep.
That's pretty much exactly what OpenAI's GPT-5 is rumored to bring to the table, maybe even this summer.
It's a huge leap.
So settle in, maybe grab a coffee, because you're about to take an incredible deep dive with us into what really looks like the next seismic shift in artificial intelligence. Seriously, this isn't just some incremental update like going from version 4.0 to 4.1. It feels more like a profound reimagining of how we'll interact with digital intelligence.
Yeah, moving beyond just simple queries.
To genuinely delegating complex stuff, things you'd normally need an assistant for.
Or even a whole team, sometimes.
Okay, so let's truly unpack this. Our mission today is to go beyond those tantalizing rumors and dive deep into the core innovations of OpenAI's GPT-5. It's the much-anticipated next iteration of their foundational AI models, obviously. And the whispers we're hearing from early testers, they've been pretty emphatic, saying it's materially better than GPT-4.
And materially better is significant praise, considering how groundbreaking GPT-4 felt when it arrived.
Absolutely. And our sources are pointing towards a likely debut around, let's say, July 2025. That timing lines up perfectly with OpenAI's strategy, right? They're planning to retire that interim GPT 4.5 model around then.
Exactly. This signals a transition.
So yeah, this isn't just about a new version number. It really feels like a new paradigm is coming. A fundamental change in how we even perceive AI, let alone use it.
And what's really fascinating here, I think, beyond just the raw capabilities, is OpenAI's stated goal. They want GPT-5 to be a fresh, viral, and non-controversial breakthrough.
Okay, non-controversial is an interesting choice of words when you're talking about AI this powerful, right?
It definitely is. I mean, while OpenAI clearly aims to focus on the practical utility, the seamless integration into everyday life, making it undeniably useful, any tech that can, autonomously perform complex actions for you, well, it naturally brings up deeper questions.
So user oversight, accountability.
Precisely. What are the frameworks we need to ensure these powerful new capabilities are used responsibly? So our deep dive today, it's going to explore those core innovations, the unified multimodal stuff, the advanced reasoning, and especially that shift towards truly autonomous action. And we'll examine what these advancements mean, not just for the tech enthusiasts or the developers building on it, but for you, the everyday user, and for businesses, small and large. How could it actually integrate into and transform your daily life, your workflows?
Yeah.
We'll look at the how and the what, but we also need to touch upon that crucial what next. How do we manage such an intelligent partner effectively and safely?
That's a perfect framing. Because, yeah, we're moving from a tool that just responds, passively waits for our commands, to something more like a proactive assistant, one that maybe anticipates our needs and acts on our behalf. So let's start by looking at those foundational pillars. What actually makes GPT-5 so incredibly powerful? Let's begin with how it perceives the world around it. First up, let's talk about how this AI will seemingly see, hear, and maybe eventually even understand the world through video. We've seen AI generate text, obviously. And GPT-4 brought in some early multimodal features, right? It could understand images.
It could, yeah, but it was often handled by separate components or modes.
Right. But GPT-5 is apparently taking this concept much, much further. It sounds like it's about natively integrating all these different forms of media into one single cognitive process.
That's exactly the idea.
Yeah.
This is what OpenAI is calling unified multimodal omnimodal intelligence. And it really does represent a significant evolution in how AI perceives. Think of it this way. With older models like GPT-4, if you wanted it to analyze an image, you sort of had to activate a specific vision mode or maybe use a plugin.
Right, you switch gears.
Exactly. If you wanted audio transcribed, that was often another tool, another process. It felt like having, a collection of specialist apps that you had to manually juggle.
Okay.
But with GPT-5, all these sensory inputs, text, images, audio, and potentially down the line, even video,
Yeah.
they're all processed intrinsically within one single unified model.
So it's not like gluing different tools together.
Not at all. It's one singular cohesive AI brain
Mm-hmm.
that understands all these inputs seamlessly, simultaneously. It's built in from the ground up.
Wow. Okay, so what does that actually mean in practice? How does that change things?
Well, it's potentially revolutionary. Imagine you're a doctor. You could show GPT-5 a complex medical scan, maybe an X-ray or an MRI.
Okay.
And then just using your voice, you could ask really detailed questions about, say, potential anomalies or specific structures you're seeing.
Uh-huh.
GPT-5 could interpret that visual data, understand your spoken query, and respond in natural language, or maybe even highlight areas directly on the image as part of its visual response.
So it's interacting visually and verbally at the same time.
Exactly. Or think about an architect. You could upload a really intricate engineering blueprint, have voice conversation about structural integrity, maybe ask for alternative design concepts. GPT-5 could analyze the visual blueprint, understand your spoken technical points, and generate alternative visual designs or flag potential flaws, all in one fluid interaction.
That's incredible. No more exporting, importing, switching apps.
Precisely. Sam Altman himself, OpenAI CEO, he's confirmed that speech in, speech out images and eventually video. That whole package will be absolutely central to GPT-5's core functionality. This omni-modal capability, it's a massive stride towards an AI that perceives and interacts with the world much more naturally, much more like we do.
Yeah.
It makes your interactions far more intuitive, dynamic, powerful compared to the text-only chatbots we've gotten used to.
It feels like it can finally connect the dots between different types of information.
Yes, it can combine information from different senses, quote unquote, in a single coherent chain of thought, just like a human brain does, right? Leading to richer, more context-aware understanding and response. It's a seamless blend of perception.
Okay, so if it can see, hear, process all this different data in one unified model, how will it think? Because that's always been the Achilles heel, hasn't it? Will it still make those silly mistakes, those confident but totally wrong answers, the hallucinations we sometimes see, especially when you ask it something complex or logical?
Right, the reliability question.
Yeah, this is where that chain of thought idea comes in, isn't it? It sounds like a huge step up in its fundamental cognitive ability.
Precisely. This is where GPT-5 really aims to differentiate itself in terms of intellectual horsepower and, crucially, reliability. It's designed for much deeper, more logical, and also more transparent reasoning. GPT-5 is OpenAI's first big flagship model with chain-of-thought capabilities built right in, natively. It's not an add-on, not a prompt trick. It's part of its core architecture.
Okay, so what does chain of thought actually mean in this context?
It means it can internally work through problems step by step, almost like a human thinking out loud or meticulously outlining their thought process on a whiteboard before giving the final answer.
Ah, I see. So it shows its work internally, at least.
Exactly. And this dramatically improves its ability to solve truly complex, multi-stage problems, problems that require logical steps.
Can you give an example?
Sure. Think about debugging a really intricate piece of software code, instead of just like magically spitting out a patched version.
Which might or might not work.
Right. GPT-5, with chain of thought, can reason through each individual line, trace the logical flow, pinpoint the error, and then, this is key, explain its reasoning for the fix step by rigorous step.
So you understand why the fix works.
Exactly. Or maybe you give it a challenging multi-stage math or physics problem. It won't just give you the number at the end. It'll articulate and show each step of its calculation, intermediate formulas, assumptions it made, making its work transparent and verifiable.
That transparency is huge for trust.
It is. And this innovation, it merges OpenAI's cutting-edge experimental research on reasoning. They've been working on this for years internally with models they call the O-series, things like Orion or O3.
Never heard of those.
Right? They weren't public chatbots. They were pure research prototypes designed to push the absolute limits of logical deduction and complex problem solving.
So they're taking that research lab stuff and putting it into the main product?
Pretty much, yeah. Integrating these experimental breakthroughs directly into the core GPP brain means we're seeing the bleeding edge of AI cognition become mainstream. Sam Altman even explicitly stated that GPT 4.5 was essentially the last non-chain of thought model.
Wow. Okay. Big statement.
It is. He emphasized that GPT-5 will fully integrate technologies like that O3 model for vastly better logical performance and, importantly, significantly enhanced truthfulness.
So better reasoning equals fewer mistakes.
That's the goal. The outcome should be an AI that can plan, analyze, and think in a more structured, human-like way. This should drastically reduce those simplistic or just plain flawed answers. Early reports, from the privileged few who've had a sneak peek, they suggest GPT-5's reasoning and planning abilities make even GPT-4, which, let's face it, we thought was a marvel look, genuinely limited by comparison.
That's hard to even imagine.
It implies more accurate, more reliable, more deeply thought-out responses for you, especially when you're dealing with critical, high-stakes tasks. It's like moving from a basic calculator that just gives you the number to a brilliant mathematician who can walk you through every single step of the proof.
Okay, for me, this is where the rubber really hits the road. We've heard about AI getting smarter. We understand how it'll perceive the world, how it'll think with this chain of thought. But the idea of it doing things on its own, proactively completing tasks, not just spitting out answers, that's where my mind really starts to spin.
Yeah, the agency aspect.
This isn't just about getting smarter answers anymore. It's about AI acting on your behalf. What does agentic task autonomy actually look like in practice? Let's get beyond the tech jargon.
You're right. This is probably the most buzzworthy feature and maybe the most profoundly transformative one. It's a game changer for how we interact with tech. Agentic task autonomy means GPT-5 will act far more like an autonomous AI agent, not just a passive chatbot waiting for your next very specific prompt.
So less hand-holding.
Much less. It implies you can give it a high-level goal, a complex objective, and it will then figure out and take a whole series of actions, often multi-step complex actions, entirely on its own. It orchestrates various internal processes, uses external tools, connects to other services to accomplish that task without needing constant micromanaged instructions from you every step of the way.
What kind of tools are we talking about?
Software tools, mainly.
Yeah.
OpenAI is equipping it with the ability to use a wide array of them. Think using a web browser, running code it writes itself, calling APIs.
APIs, application programming interfaces, right? Like bridges between programs.
Exactly. Secure bridges allowing different programs to talk to each other. So it can execute tasks end to end.
Okay, let's break that down more. Beyond the travel example I gave earlier, what else?
Okay, imagine you're a small business owner. You could give GPT-5 a high-level request like, develop a marketing campaign for our new product launch.
Okay, that's a big ask.
It is. And GPT-5 might then autonomously use its multimodal skills to generate several visual ad concepts. Then, leverage its agentic powers to connect to your social media accounts via their APIs.
Right.
It could schedule posts for the best engagement times, write compelling ad copy tailored for Facebook versus, say, LinkedIn, draft an entire email newsletter,
Right.
and maybe even integrate with your email marketing software like MailChimp or something to actually send it out, all while sticking to your brand guidelines and maybe a budget you specified.
Could it do research, too? Like see what competitors are doing?
Potentially, yes. It could research competitor campaigns, analyze real-time market trends using browsing tools, maybe even set up O/V tests for different ad creatives, and give you performance reports.
Okay, that's starting to sound like a whole marketing department in a box.
Or consider a lawyer.
Yeah.
You could upload hundreds of pages of legal documents, contracts, case files, and ask GPT-5 to say, identify all instances of specific clauses about liability waivers, cross-reference them with a recent relevant case law, and draft a summary brief highlighting potential risks.
That would normally take a team of paralegals hours, maybe days.
Exactly. GPT-5 would then autonomously sift through those massive documents, apply complex legal reasoning using its chain of thought, perform targeted searches across online legal databases via APIs, synthesize all that information, and produce a structured brief.
That's profound.
It's a true evolution. From just answering questions to an autonomous agent that plans, reasons, and executes complex tasks.
Yeah.
One CEO who got an early preview really highlighted its ability to trigger AI agents to perform tasks autonomously. That sums it up well.
So what does that mean for us, the users?
It means potentially automating entire workflows, delegating tasks you currently spend hours, maybe even days on. GPT-5 should feel less like a tool you have to constantly micromanage with very precise instructions.
Like current assistants sometimes feel.
Right, and more like a smart, proactive assistant that actually collaborates with you. It anticipates steps, carries them out, maybe asks clarifying questions when needed, but handles the execution.
It shifts the burden.
Fundamentally, it shifts the burden of execution from you to the AI, allowing you to focus on the higher-level strategy, the creative parts, the human judgment.
Which raises that question you mentioned.
Exactly. It raises an important question for everyone listening. What complex multi-step tasks in your life, your work, might you want to delegate to an AI like this if you truly trusted it to handle them from start to finish?
That's a big question to ponder. Okay, so all these incredible capabilities, the unified multimodality, the deep reasoning, this groundbreaking autonomy, it must require just a colossal amount of processing power, right? And an unprecedented depth of knowledge. We hear models described as big, but how truly massive is this thing, really, to handle all of that simultaneously, efficiently, and with such depth?
You've hit on a crucial point. Raw scale is absolutely a fundamental enabler here. GPT-5 is rumored to be truly immense. We're talking operating in the order of trillions of parameters.
Trillions, with a T.
With a T. Some reports suggest it could be between 5 and 10 trillion parameters.
Okay, put that in perspective for us. How big was GPT-4?
Well, OpenAI never officially confirmed GPT-4's size,
Yeah.
but the widespread belief, based on analysis and leaks, is that it was around 1 trillion parameters, maybe a bit more, depending on how you count the mixture of experts.
So GPT-5 could be 5 to 10 times larger.
Potentially, yes, an order of magnitude larger.
Yeah.
It's a truly monumental leap in just the sheer complexity of the model.
And the data it learns from.
Also unprecedented. It's expected to be trained on somewhere between 40 and 100 trillion tokens.
Okay, what's a token again, roughly?
Think of tokens as the fundamental units of text and data the AI learns from, often a word or part of a word, or even images represented numerically. So 40 to 100 trillion of those. It's a staggering amount of information for it to learn patterns from.
How is that even possible to train?
Well, this huge brain and the colossal dataset processing are enabled by OpenAI's incredibly ambitious project Stargate.
Right, I've heard whispers about that, the huge supercomputer project.
Exactly. It's reported to be a $500 plus billion AI supercomputing initiative built in collaboration with Microsoft. This isn't just about adding more computers, it's about constructing entirely new purpose-built data centers.
Filled with
Tens of thousands of specialized GPUs, graphics processing units, which are absolutely essential for the massive parallel computations needed in AI. They need that immense compute power for both training and running models of this scale efficiently.
So Stargate is the engine.
It's the engine. Sam Altman even teased this, saying something like, if people knew what we could do with more compute, they would want way, way more. It directly underlines how fundamental this raw power is to unlocking these new capabilities.
So what does that massive size actually get us, functionally?
Pragmatically, a multi-trillion parameter model means GPT-5 can absorb vastly more knowledge. It can model far more intricate, complex patterns and relationships within that huge data set. And potentially, this leads to significantly higher accuracy, more nuance, better understanding across an incredibly broad range of topics. It just has more capacity to learn.
But training, it must have cost a fortune.
Estimates are maybe $1 to $2 billion just in compute resources for the training run alone. It's astronomical.
So will it be super expensive for us to use?
That's the balancing act. OpenAI is apparently heavily optimizing it for efficient use during inference. That's the process of actually running the model once it's trained, when you make a request. So the goal is that the costs for you, the end user, should remain reasonable and accessible, similar to current tiers maybe. This huge scale, it really underpins all the other groundbreaking features we've talked about.
Like memory and multimodality.
Exactly. From its expanded memory and context window to its unified multimodal processing and that advanced chain of thought reasoning, the scale is the foundation that powers the entire revolution.
That makes perfect sense. It's like building a much bigger, more powerful engine gives the car the raw ability to do far more incredible things. But as you know, even the most powerful engine isn't much good if the car forgets where it's going every few miles.
Yeah, right.
And that brings us to one of the biggest frustrations with today's AIs, right? Their remarkable short-term memory loss, that conversational amnesia.
Yeah, the context limit.
Will GPT-5 finally solve this? Will it actually remember our preferences, details about our specific projects, things we talked about yesterday or even last week?
Absolutely. Addressing that conversational amnesia is a huge priority, a paramount upgrade in GPT-5. And it seems to come in two major complementary forms.
Okay, what's the first?
First, there's an enormously expanded context window. This is basically the AI's short-term or working memory for the immediate conversation or the documents you're actively feeding it.
How big are we talking?
Rumors consistently point to GPT-5 handling over 1 million tokens of context.
1 million. How much is that in, like, normal terms?
1 million tokens is roughly equivalent to maybe a 750-page book or hundreds, potentially thousands of pages of text, all held in its active memory at once.
Wow. So I could paste in.
You can paste an entire complex legal brief, a massive academic thesis, the complete code base for a large software project, maybe even an entire novel.
And then ask questions about any part of it.
Exactly. And have conversations that span days without it forgetting the details you shared earlier in that session, because all that information is right there in its active working memory.
That's huge. What was the limit for GPT-4 again?
GPT-4 topped out around 128,000 tokens, and that was often in limited beta or for specific use cases.
Yeah.
For most users, it was often much less, maybe 32K or even 8K initially. That quickly became a bottleneck for longer projects.
Yeah, definitely. So this expanded context window alone feels like a game changer for just getting work done.
It really is, especially for productivity and analytical tasks.
Yeah.
But it goes even further.
Oh, what's the second part?
GPT-5 is also expected to have some form of persistent long-term memory.
Okay, now that's interesting, like remembering things across different chats.
Exactly. With your explicit permission, of course, and with robust privacy controls, it's absolutely crucial here. It could remember your specific preferences, like the window seat. It could remember your unique writing style, important facts about your ongoing projects, the nuances of your business, or even details from previous discussions across different sessions.
Sessions meaning different days, weeks.
Potentially, yes. Days, weeks, maybe even months. So instead of each new chat starting from a completely blank slate, where you have to re-explain everything from scratch.
Which is super annoying.
Right. GPT-5 could truly feel like it remembers you, making interactions profoundly more personalized, coherent, continuous.
That changes everything.
It dramatically enhances that meaningful conversation aspect. It transforms the interaction into more of a truly collaborative partnership, one that learns from your past interactions and proactively applies that knowledge to future tasks.
Think of the efficiency gains.
Exactly. It's the difference between like having a brand new intern walk in every single day versus having a seasoned executive assistant who knows your every habit and need.
Okay, that deep memory, both short-term and long-term, sounds incredibly powerful. But if it's going to be so smart, so autonomous, and remember so much, how can we truly trust it? What about those infamous AI hallucinations? You know, where it just confidently makes stuff up, provides wrong citations, spins fantastical stories as if they're fact. That's been a major hurdle, right, for broader adoption for critical use cases.
That's absolutely a critical concern, yeah. And OpenAI seems to be placing heavy emphasis on accuracy and truthfulness for GPT-5. Hallucinations, that tendency to confidently generate false info or errors, they're expected to drop significantly with this new model.
How are they achieving that?
It seems to be coming from several angles.
Yeah.
First, the model is reportedly being trained on fresher, more rigorously verified data sources, so less chance of it learning outdated or just plain wrong information to begin with.
Okay. Better ingredients.
Better ingredients, exactly. Second, it's expected to use significantly improved self-checking techniques during the response generation process. And that's a direct benefit of that inherent chain of thought reasoning we talked about earlier.
Ah, so the reasoning helps it catch its own potential mistakes.
That seems to be the idea. Sam Altman has even stated OpenAI's ambitious goal is getting the answer right every time, not just often. Now, achieving 100% factual accuracy in these kinds of probabilistic models is still a massive ongoing challenge.
Sure, perfection is hard.
But the aim is clearly a dramatic reduction in error rates, making it much more reliable day to day.
How does the self-checking work, roughly?
Well, GPT-5 will likely double down on fact-checking itself internally. It's designed to use that advanced reasoning ability to kind of detect when it's unsure about something, or if its own internal knowledge might not be sufficient for a really accurate answer.
So it knows when it doesn't know.
Hopefully, yes, more often. And in those cases, instead of just guessing or making something up, it could proactively consult external, verified sources, maybe using its browsing tools, or perhaps query its vast training data more rigorously before providing an answer.
Interesting. Any specific features for this?
Some insiders have even mentioned a potential dedicated deep research mode, specifically for complex factual questions, where the AI essentially performs its own detailed verification process, almost like a human researcher cross-referencing multiple reliable sources.
Okay, that sounds promising.
It means you can expect far fewer made-up citations, incorrect statements, or outright fabrications. It directly addresses a major pain point users have had.
So less need to constantly double-check everything it says.
That's the hope. Obviously, responsible use and critical thinking on the user's part will always be important, especially for really high-stakes decisions. You don't just blindly trust it with, medical diagnoses or financial planning.
Right. Common sense still applies.
Absolutely. But GPT-5 aims to be far more trustworthy on a foundational level, significantly reducing your need to constantly second-guess its answers for everyday queries and tasks. It's about building that user confidence through demonstrated reliability.
Okay, this all sounds incredibly powerful. We've got the vast knowledge, the reasoning, the autonomy, the memory, better reliability. But typically, more power, more complexity, that often means slower performance, right?
Common trade-off.
Does having this trillion parameter brain mean it's going to be sluggish? Are we going to be sitting around waiting for it to process our requests? Because nobody wants to wait for their AI assistant to catch up. Speed and responsiveness are just paramount today.
That's a very practical and excellent question, and it's a valid concern with models of this incredible scale. However, the surprising thing is, despite its massive size, GPT-5 is actually expected to be faster and significantly more efficient in use than GPT-4 was, especially at launch.
Faster. Huh.
Well, OpenAI, working closely with Microsoft, has made enormous, really strategic investments in the underlying infrastructure. That Project Stargate supercomputer isn't just for training.
It's for running it, too.
Exactly. They've built and leveraged these massive AI supercomputers, packed with tens of thousands of those cutting-edge GPUs, not just for the incredibly arduous task of training GPT-5, but crucially, for optimizing its performance during inference.
Inference meaning when we actually use it.
Right, when it's actively processing your request and generating responses, they've poured resources into making that part fast and efficient.
So it's a payoff for us.
The payoff should be quicker responses, much lower latency, less of that frustrating waiting time between your input and the AI's output, even if you're throwing really complex, multimodal, or reasoning-heavy requests at it.
And for businesses, does faster mean cheaper?
Potentially, yes. Lower latency and higher efficiency can translate to a lower cost per query, which is absolutely crucial for widespread business adoption. Think about integrating AI into high-volume applications like customer service bots or internal data processing tools. Cost per interaction matters a lot.
Were there clues this was coming?
Yeah, even the early versions of the tech that paved the way for GPT-5, like that internal GPT 4.5 model, reportedly codenamed Orion, they already showed smoother, faster replies compared to the initial GPT-4, which, let's be honest, sometimes felt a bit sluggish, especially when it was doing heavy lifting like complex reasoning or processing large documents.
I remember that lag sometimes.
So you can reasonably expect GPT-5 to handle even highly complex, multimodal, reasoning-heavy requests in near real time, without those noticeable delays that sometimes affected earlier generations.
So the goal is immense power that feels instant.
Exactly. Seamless. As if it's anticipating your next thought, not struggling to catch up.
Okay, so we've systematically broken down these groundbreaking capabilities. We've got the unified omni-model intelligence, seeing, hearing, processing everything together. We've got the deep chain of thought reasoning for reliability, the groundbreaking agentic autonomy, the AI actually doing things, and the enhanced memory, the improved reliability, the speed.
Quite a package.
It really is. But let's bring it all together. What does this mean on a truly practical level? How will these advancements actually change our daily lives, our jobs, the broader world? How does AI shift from something we occasionally, dabble with to something truly integrated into the fabric of our existence?
Yeah, the so what question. I think GPT-5's advancements could truly transform how you use AI in almost every facet of your daily life and work. For the general public, your interaction with something like ChatGPT will likely evolve into something much more like a truly do-it-all personal assistant.
Oh, so?
Imagine you can just talk to it naturally like you would a human colleague or a friend. You can show it images, maybe short videos directly within the chat, and have it help with virtually any task.
Like what?
From writing complex code, to analyzing video content, to drafting a comprehensive research paper, to planning your family vacation, all within one seamless, intuitive interface.
So no more juggling different specialized AI tools.
That's the promise.
Yeah.
You won't need to juggle separate apps or models for different kinds of inputs or outputs. GPT-5 is designed to handle it all: text, vision, speech, action in one unified system, understanding the context across all those modalities.
And for businesses.
Developers. For them, it means a single, incredibly powerful foundational model that natively handles text, vision, speech, and autonomous action. This dramatically simplifies creating sophisticated, integrated AI-powered services. No more trying to stitch together 5 different AI components that don't quite talk to each other properly.
Can you give some more concrete examples of that transformation?
Sure. Let's consider a few sectors. In e-commerce, Think next-gen customer support. A customer could just send a photo of a damaged product or maybe a short video explaining their issue. GPT-5, understanding that visual in the context, could potentially autonomously diagnose the likely problem, access the customer's order history, initiate a return process, schedule a pickup, maybe even issue a refund, all without needing a human agent, beyond the initial system setup and oversight.
Wow, automating the whole returns process.
Or proactively suggesting alternative products, or providing usage tips based on the issue shown.
Okay, what about education?
It could act as an incredibly intelligent, personalized tutor. It could converse with a student by voice. It could see their handwritten math work or diagrams, maybe even watch them solve a problem on screen via screen sharing.
And then give feedback.
Exactly. Provide tailored guidance, patiently explain complex concepts, and crucially, remember past sessions. Remember what concepts the student struggled with, their individual learning style, and adapt its teaching approach in real time.
Personalized learning at scale.
Exactly. Or think about healthcare, focusing on the non-diagnostic assistant side.
Right, not replacing doctors.
Definitely not. But imagine a personal health assistant. It could analyze your fitness tracker data, review your food logs, answer general questions about common symptoms, always stressing it's not medical advice. And then, maybe with your permission, it could even help schedule doctor's appointments by interacting with online booking systems, or help manage medication reminders, or explain complex medical reports in simpler, understandable terms.
That could be incredibly helpful.
And in professional settings, think of it handling tasks like drafting entire multi-chapter reports just from raw data and maybe some research notes you provide, performing complex financial or scientific data analysis, and then generating insightful charts and visualizations.
So data analysis and reporting automated.
Potentially, yes.
Yeah.
Or managing intricate project coordination across multiple teams, scheduling meetings by checking everyone's calendars via APIs, sending reminders, even drafting follow-up action item emails based on a meeting transcript.
Yeah.
All with minimal human supervision.
That frees up so much time.
Or for creative professionals, maybe generating entire storyboards for a film based on a script, composing different options for background music, creating multiple variations of a logo design based on a creative brief and some visual examples you feed it.
The possibilities seem almost endless.
It's that fundamental shift we talked about, moving from just using AI as a static tool that waits for your precise instructions,
Right.
to genuinely working with it as an intelligent, proactive, collaborative partner. One that anticipates needs, offers solutions, autonomously executes tasks, freeing up immense human potential for creativity, strategy, and connection.
It's like getting a co-pilot for almost every aspect of your digital life.
That's a great way to put it, a co-pilot.
Okay, this all sounds absolutely incredible. Truly like something out of science fiction just a few years ago. With such a massive leap in capability, how soon can we actually expect to try this thing?
The million-dollar question.
And maybe more importantly, will it be widely available? Will it be accessible to everyone? Or is it going to be locked behind some kind of exclusive access? Or maybe prohibitively expensive tiers? Because for a technology to be truly transformative, people need to be able to actually use it.
That's a key question, absolutely. And OpenAI's strategy for GPT-5's rollout, well, it might differ significantly from how they handled past models. And that could indicate a strong push for broad, rapid adoption.
How so? What was the old way?
Historically, new big GPT models like GPT-4, they often started with pretty limited beta access. Or they were initially only available to premium subscribers, ChatGPT Plus users, or developers paying for API access.
Yeah.
There was often a waitlist.
Right, I remember the GPT-4 waitlist.
Exactly. But this time, there were strong hints, rumors, but persistent ones, that GPT-5 might be made widely available much more quickly, maybe even from the get-go.
Widely available, meaning even for free users.
Possibly, yes. It might be available even to free ChatGPT users, perhaps with some limits on the most compute-intensive capabilities, or maybe usage caps, while the Plus, Pro, or Enterprise subscribers would likely get access to the full, unconstrained power, higher usage limits, priority access to new features, that sort of thing.
Why would they do that? Give away such powerful tech.
Well, it could indicate a robust confidence in its baseline reliability for mass use. They might feel it's ready for prime time. And strategically, it's a way to gather incredibly widespread feedback very, very quickly.
Crowdsourcing the testing and improvement.
Essentially, yes.
Yeah.
Allowing them to iterate and improve the model even faster based on millions of real-world interactions.
So if it is released widely and quickly, what happens then?
If GPT-5 is indeed released to the public without those long wait lists or significant barriers, I think you can expect a new AI boom to ignite almost immediately. We'd see an unprecedented flood of viral examples across social media, tech news, mainstream outlets. People will be pushing its multimodal capabilities, testing its agentic powers to their absolute limits.
Creating things we can't even imagine yet.
Exactly. Creating content, solving problems, discovering entirely new applications at a pace that would dwarf even the initial ChatGPT explosion. But this time, on a much larger, more interactive, more capable scale.
So OpenAI is positioning this as the new standard.
It seems so. They're clearly positioning GPT-5 as the new default flagship model for all their products, which means, quite possibly, you might simply wake up one day in the coming months and find your ChatGPT experience has been dramatically upgraded. All these new capabilities, the better reasoning, the memory, the multimodality, maybe some basic agentic features just appear without you having to do anything special to access them.
Wow. A seamless upgrade to a whole new level of AI.
That seems to be the vision. It's designed to become the seamless, integrated intelligence you just expect and depend on. And that broad accessibility is absolutely crucial if it's going to become a truly ubiquitous part of our digital lives.
Okay, so let's try and quickly summarize this incredible deep dive then. GPT-5. It's set to be a truly massive leap forward. It's bringing unified multimodal intelligence, meaning it seamlessly understands and generates text, images, audio, potentially video, all within one single AI brain.
The Omni model.
It's gaining true native chain of thought reasoning, which translates to far deeper, more reliable, and importantly, more transparent problem solving.
Fewer hallucinations, better logic.
We're also looking at groundbreaking agentic autonomy. The AI can proactively take actions, complete complex, multi-step tasks on your behalf. It's not just answering, it's doing.
The co-pilot aspect.
Exactly. Plus, enormously enhanced memory, both the huge context window and that persistent long-term memory, finally fixing that frustrating conversational amnesia.
Remembering the project.
And significantly improved reliability, promising to dramatically reduce those annoying and sometimes dangerous hallucinations.
Building trust through accuracy.
So if we connect all these dots, what's the bigger picture here?
Well, if we zoom out, GPT-5 really aims to effectively collapse today's patchwork of separate AI tools, plugins, different modes for different tasks into one single, seamless, almost magical user experience.
One tool to rule them all, sort of?
In a way, yes. It's poised to fundamentally reset the ceiling of what we expect AIs to do for us every single day. This isn't just about, incremental improvements anymore. It feels like a profound qualitative shift in how we interact with technology, moving from just simple queries and using reactive tools
to genuinely delegating complex tasks and actually collaborating with an intelligent partner.
Exactly. From doing nuanced analytical work to truly creative content generation to fully automating those mundane administrative tasks that eat up our GPT-5 promises to elevate the everyday utility and the transformative power of AI like never before.
It really does sound like we're moving from a world where we simply use AI, like a hammer or a spreadsheet, to one where we truly collaborate with it. As an intelligent, proactive partner, it feels like the start of a fundamentally different kind of relationship with our technology. Less about just giving instructions, more about shared goals and execution.
Indeed. And much of this development, at its core, is focused on utility, on expanding capabilities in ways that make our lives easier, more productive, potentially more creative. That non-controversial goal OpenAI mentioned.
Focusing on the positive potential.
Right. And experts in the field seem genuinely excited. I saw one AI strategist quoted as saying, GPT-5 feels like the moment we stop just using AI and start truly working with it. It really does signal a potential new era, where AI becomes that intelligent partner rather than just a passive tool, capable of a much deeper level of engagement, understanding, and critically action.
So keep an eye out this summer?
Definitely keep a close eye out this summer. The AI landscape might just change in a really big, maybe surprisingly seamless way, right under your nose.
Yeah.
GPT-5 could truly be the breakthrough that brings us one significant step closer to AI that just works and maybe wows the world all over again with its practical, tangible applications.
Okay, as we wrap up this deep dive, here's something to think about. A final provocative thought for you, our listener. If GPT-5 truly can act as an autonomous agent, if it can orchestrate complex tasks from start to finish, and if it really can remember everything you tell it across different sessions over long periods, what is the first complex task, or maybe a long-term project in your life, could be personal, could be professional, could be creative. What's the first really significant thing that you would truly trust an AI like that to handle, essentially from start to finish, without your constant oversight? Something where you could genuinely set the goal, provide the context, and then really let GPT-5 run with it. What would that first big delegation be for you?